Today is a big day. Welcome to the Starin Town Hall. We're going to go ahead and start this off. Today, we are joined by Neat. Neat is here today. I'm your host, Chris Nato. I'm the Market Development Manager here at Starin. And my job is to make sure that the Neat guys can tell you some cool things and that you get to meet the team that is here to support you guys. Because more importantly, one of the things that Starin does, if not deliver product, and we do have Neat in stock in case somebody would like to, rush off the phone and get in touch with your Starin rep. We do have them in stock. But one of the things that is important to us is to help connect you to the manufacturer and to hear the latest and greatest and put faces behind the product, or more importantly, put the faces in front of the product. So today we're going to learn more about Neat and the people behind the magic and all the good things. Joining us today is Matt and Brian. Go ahead, guys. Let's start with you, Matt. Would you like to kick us off with a little bit of introduction of who you are and tell us about Neat?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chris. And it's exciting to get back in front of everybody. I think it was last year, the last time we were on the town hall. So lots of changes to the products and just some of our sales motion too that we'll talk about today. But hello, everyone. I'm Matt Brungart, Director of Channels and Distribution here at Neat. I've been with the company about 2 years. So kind of went through quite a bit of change over the last, 2 years, just with products adding to the portfolio. And then also just bringing on different UC vendors that we're here about today. But excited to get back in front of everybody and kind of keep building that momentum that we've got with Starin. We've seen some really great revenue coming out of them, and we've got some big expectations very quickly as well in this quarter and next. But I'll turn it over to Brian real quick for a quick intro, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit about the background of Neat as well.
Sure. So Brian Dunat, Product Specialist here at Neat. I'm coming up on 7 months at Neat. Previous to that, I was actually coming from one of our DMRs as a pre-sales collaboration solution architect. So really my job here at Neat is to make sure that everybody really understands the Neat product portfolio, how we operate with the different meeting platforms, both Zoom and Microsoft Teams now with our recent certification. We'll talk about that. And also just make sure that everybody really understands how we're going to market, what are some of the new features, some of the new functionality, and really how are we kind of solving a lot of the challenges that our customers and partners are facing, as well as get feedback. And that's something that I think is very unique here within Neat, is that we welcome that feedback because we meet on a weekly basis with our R&D group. And that feedback we get from our customers and our partners is really what drives our product roadmap. And we'll talk about that in a little bit here, but I'm going to kick it back to Matt to kind of give a little bit more of an overview.
Well, before Matt starts, let me go ahead and add some house cleaning or housekeeping rules to the situation. This is our town hall. This town hall is fueled 100% by your questions. Please make sure to ask questions in the Q&A button located at the bottom of the screen here. You'll be able to go ahead and connect and chat with me, or at least send me the Q&A and I'll read them online. We are going to be giving away a prize at the end of the town hall. So we will stick around to the end because obviously we know that that's what you're all here for. At least a handful of you, I'm sure, are here for the cool gifts and prizes and stuff like that. So yes, at the end, we'll be doing that. Q&A, again, Neat will go ahead and do a little quick presentation, tell you about the products. If something pops up along the way, put it in the Q&A. I promise you we will get to it. I do not like to leave any questions hanging and follow up with you guys on the email. I'd rather address them right here live, put these guys on the spot. And we got to hand it to them. They made it all the way back from New Orleans from a recent sales conference that they had in one piece. It's good to see everybody here and all your equipment's intact. New Orleans is a crazy place. I've been there a handful of times, and I commend the fact that you were able to get out of there in one piece. So that's awesome. So without further ado, take it off. The show's in your hands, Matt.
I appreciate it, Chris. And yeah, you're right. It was a fantastic week last week in New Orleans. And I guess one of the themes that we had for our event was Purple Rain with Prince. So if you were down there, you could see everybody, I think 150 people, right, Brian, kind of walking down Bourbon Street with a purple coat. We kind of brought it into the streets. So it was really, really cool to see just how much we've grown over the last year. But real quick, and you already took some of the information away, Chris, we're in stock at Starin. So I wanted to make sure we really, really promote that. So that's something that once we go through the products, you'll see everything that Brian will talk about today is going to be in stock there. But a quick background on who Neat is, just in case you're not familiar with us yet. We started in 2019. We did start in Video Valley. So if you're familiar with the video conferencing space, we were built around the same R&D team, the same founders as Tandberg. So we quickly had a product that came into the market in 2020, and we've just kind of expanded that portfolio since then. When we started in 2020, it was really 100% focused on Zoom. And as Brian just mentioned, we just announced a few products that are now focused with Microsoft as well. So pretty exciting. We actually did have a Microsoft webinar just today as well. One of the things that we're looking to do with Starin is really just expand to the partner community. So we really want to introduce our product into partners, from SMB to mid-market all the way to the enterprise space. And doing that so far, we've actually been increasing our year-over-year revenue by 5 times. So we've been growing really, really fast. We've changed our whole motion to channel first, and kind of following through what we call our seed, try, buy process. And after Brian's done, we'll talk a little bit about more investments we're making for our channel partners. But with that, just a quick overview of Neat. I'll turn it over to Brian so we can go ahead and start walking through the product portfolio.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. And just real quick, so what we're seeing here is this is our product portfolio. It might seem simple, but quite honestly, it covers roughly about 80 to 90% of what we're seeing with our customers. So, originally we launched with Zoom back in 2020, just in March here. And at Enterprise Connect, we launched our certification for 4 of our products. So on the left there, you have the Neat board. And then on the right in the middle, you have Neat bar, which looks just like this guy here that I'm going to hold up. So this is Neat bar. This is our original device that we started shipping in 2020. And this is the device that also got certified for Microsoft Teams. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But then also Pad both as the room controller and as a room scheduler. So just like how we have it set up today with Zoom, where you can use our Pad, purpose-built 8-inch Android-based appliance as either a room scheduler or a room controller, we can now do the same with Teams. And where we're headed is right behind me here, I have Frame, but you'll see Frame in the bottom right corner. That product is something that we're working very, very closely with Microsoft on. We actually got to demo some, which we were actually pretty surprised, but we got to demo the initial build of Microsoft Teams, and it's going to be set up as a Teams display at Enterprise Connect back in March of this year. And then the very top one is Neat Bar Pro, and that is the big brother to Neat Bar and Neat Board. And that is also in the process right now of getting a functioning build of Microsoft Teams running, which don't hold me to it, but we did actually get to see it in our demo center this week. So we're excited about that. And that will also be coming here very soon. Probably in the next month or 2, we should be able to at least start seeing some previews and being able to run Microsoft Teams on Neat Bar Pro. So with that, Mark, if you want to kill the slides, what I wanted to do is just take some time, and I always feel like this is a good way to just kind of do a quick refresher for everybody of what is Neat, what do we do, and how are we different, right? And that's really what we focus on. We don't want to sit here and I hate to say this, but we don't want to get into presidential debates and be mudslinging against all our competitors. What we really strive to do is show you how we're different. And if we're the right fit for your customer, that's amazing, right? That's all we ask for, is just get a fair shake at it. So as Matt mentioned, right, our legacy comes from Tandberg. So we have people that have been around for a long time. We have a really rich heritage in the video conferencing space. We made a lot of design decisions and changes to our product line when we first launched in 2020. A couple of those that I'm just going to call out, and you've probably seen it in some others, but we've moved from an optical lens to a digital lens. So main reason for that is the things I'm about to show you, we can only do with a digital lens. We can't do with traditional optical lenses. We also really strive to deliver something that is a simplified out-of-the-box experience, okay? What I mean by that is if you get a chance to open up a Neat product, you will notice that it's very Apple-esque. And I say that because, quite honestly, I mean, you see a lot of unboxing of Apple products. It's amazing, right? It's very simple. It's very quick to get set up. We wanted that same experience in all of our devices. So when you open it up, you're going to see that we include literally everything in the box. You're going to get the devices. You're going to get the pad. You're going to get HDMI cables. You're going to get network cables. You're going to get all the mounts. And I say that because that's really important, right? Like, I know coming from pre-sales, it's difficult because you're trying to figure out like, how many VESA mounts do I need? How many desktop mounts do I need? How many wall mounts do I need, right? We ship every single device comes with all the mounting options included in the box. In addition to that, with PAD, we include PoE injector because it's a PoE device. So if your customer does not have PoE switch port availability, no problem, we're going to get you that. Okay. In addition to that, on the back of all of our Neat devices, and when I first started here, as we mentioned, we're a Norwegian company, I kind of felt like I was opening up an IKEA box and I was like, really cool, but I don't know what this is. Every one of our devices has a QR code on it. If you scan this QR code, it's going to take you to our website, and it is literally a step-by-step installation guide, fully animated, and it'll tell you all the parts, all the components that you need out of the box. And that's really where, when we say we want a simplified out-of-the-box experience, that's how we deliver it, right? Everything is there. But then what did we do to really differentiate ourselves, right? A lot of people, so cool, we got a digital lens, no moving parts, probably means that less returns, less RMAs. But some of the design decisions and some of the decisions we made to enhance that video conferencing, one of which was, how are we going to track people in the room? And the first thing that we did was we changed from doing voice or active speaker tracking, and we're looking for all human objects within a meeting space. So if I move around within my home office, what you're going to see is that it's a very smooth transition as it follows me. And hopefully, you know, like it's starting to look like Chris's office a little bit with all kinds of fun stuff behind here. But you'll notice too, just so that you understand, it's the human object. So if I had a mask on and I stop talking and walk to the back of the room, it's still going to follow me. Okay, and this was huge because honestly, when we first launched during the pandemic, a lot of e-learning was going on. A lot of people were adopting Zoom, and a lot of people like this because I haven't really touched my controller, right? This is all just our camera AI. So that was good, but then we thought, like, how do we make this better, right? And how do we make this experience that is great right now even better when we return to the office and we have multiple meeting participants? And the way that we did that was we actually have what we call our auto framing. And again, based on the human object. So I'm going to bring out a good friend here, Mr. Adam Sandler, because, you know, I like hanging out with Adam here. And what you'll notice is that what our camera is going to do is it's going to continue to zoom out and pan out as I move around the space to do group auto framing. Oh, hey, Brian, that's cool. Everybody seems to be doing that these days. And I agree. But what we thought was different was because we're doing this and we're scanning around, you'll notice there's still a lot of dead space in the meeting, right? Like Adam's probably 5 feet from the camera. If I go all the way back here, I'm 12 feet from the camera. So just to give you a framework, I'm in a 12 by 12 office, right? And I'm talking to you on bar. It's great. You guys see Adam, but I'm kind of far out. So what we decided to do was change this. Because of the digital lens technology, what we did is what we call symmetry. And this is going to be individual auto framing. So what we do now is we take and we find the human objects in the meeting space. We individually crop them and we get it so that we're all at eye level. Now, the advantage to this is because it's individual, if I move all the way back here, right? And again, I'm all the way back 12 feet away. What you're going to notice is that, again, still, it's going to zoom in. It's going to come out as far as it can. It's going to grab me, and it's going to keep me at eye level with Adam. Just as if I was to bring out my chair and actually sit down. Now you'll notice that I'm still at the same eye level. And this is really where, you know, the term that everybody's kind of got the buzzword, but we truly feel it is we're bringing meeting equity back into the meeting space. Because you're not having all of this dead space. It's very easy for you to focus on who are the meeting participants in the room. Okay. Now, in addition to that, with Zoom, and we're going to try this here, is we also then do one more thing with Zoom, which is we also have, and through our partnership, have co-developed Smart Gallery. And what we do with Smart Gallery is when we're using Zoom, it allows us to send up to 3 video streams to the Zoom meeting platform. So as you probably see right now, the main spotlight video that we have is me in the room, group auto framed with Adam. But if you look at some of the other participant videos or panelist videos, you'll notice that you see Adam and you see myself. And the way that we're doing that is we're taking the individual crops we're doing with symmetry, and we're splitting that up against the additional 2 video streams we can send to Zoom. Now, coming soon, Zoom is now going to support up to sending 6 different video streams to the Zoom platform. We are currently evaluating if we're going to do that, or maybe we're going to expand that and be able to support sending multiple video streams to it. And this is a very important point I want to make in what I just showed, because we're already getting a lot of questions with Microsoft Teams. Microsoft announced the big front row, the Microsoft front row layout for their devices. And what they're asking about is, well, is Neat going to do it? Well, we're a Microsoft Teams room on Android device. Okay, so keep that in mind. There is a difference between Microsoft Teams room on Windows, Microsoft Teams room on Android. Microsoft is bringing front row to the Teams platform or the Windows platform first, aiming for probably Q3, Q4 to bring front row to Android. Part of that is going to require being able to send multiple streams to the Microsoft platform to do it. When we just enabled Smart Gallery, you could actually see how that works, right? So our devices are fully capable of doing that. And something that I will say, since I've joined here, I'm incredibly proud of the fact that our device that we launched in 2020 is running Android 10, just got certified for Microsoft Teams, which means it's certified and supported all the way until September of 2024. So think about that. You've got almost 30 months of runtime on the hardware that we have today, and we're still investigating if we can do further upgrades to this platform to see if we can extend the life of our device. So from inception of when we first started shipping this device, that'll be almost four years later that we're still supporting the same hardware that we initially released. Okay, now, a couple of questions that have come up that I'll address is, some people have asked us, hey, that's really cool with symmetry, but and I totally understand where you guys are coming from and with your history in video conferencing, but have you thought through any potential issues that might come from that by doing object detection and not facial recognition or voice switching, right? And we did, because what could happen is, because we're using the human object, if I had a meeting space that had all glass walls, and let's say Matt and Chris are walking on their way to another meeting and I'm presenting to everybody here, we don't want our cameras to grab Matt and Chris, bring them in as if they're part of my meeting, and then as they go into the conference room, they disappear, right? That's not a real good experience, and that's not what we want. So how we solve for that is a feature, and this is something that's it's still listed as beta, but honestly, we use it every day and we have a lot of customers using it, is what we call subject boundary. And this is a setting that we always tell our customers and our partners that, hey, when you're building a room, go in there and actually set this up. Hey, Mark, would you mind just spotlighting me real quick? We'll see here. Or Chris or Matt. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going into the settings. I know it's totally washed out, but I'll just tell you as a couple of clicks, I'm in here. But what I'm going to bring up here is I'm going to show you, and now you get to really see the mess of Brian Dunat's office. But I've moved Adam up to the front of the room. Okay. And right now, this is basically everything that the board camera can see. But I have on the bottom of here is 2 sliders. So I can actually adjust a virtual width and depth of my conference room however I see fit to exclude people that maybe might be in the back. The beauty of this is it really starts building that foundation for, number one, solving those instances where we do have glass walls, or if I wanted to deploy a board in an open space, much like what I have here. So now what you'll see is that I have a green box around me, but Adam here at the front of the room actually has a red box. Okay, and what that's signifying and what that's telling our device is that, hey, Adam's far enough outside of the boundary that I don't want him to do anything from an object detection. Meaning, when I dial in to the meeting from this device, I don't want Adam to be picked up. Okay, now, because I like doing live demos and I hate PowerPoints because I feel like the proof's in the pudding, I'm actually going to I'm going to join from the board. So Mark, if you could just watch for Brian Dunat board to come in and then promote me to a panelist, I'll show you guys what this looks like and how this technology works. So I'll be right back.
And this is the beauty of TV Magic. We have all this kind of ready for you. And this isn't pre-recorded, folks. This is live. So if there is any hiccups, you know that we may have messed up. But we're just being transparent here. But he should be joining shortly. Thank you. I see you sent in questions. We got those questions down and they're ready to go. And thank you, Jeremy, for pointing out that there is some cool features here especially when it comes to the feature set of the board and obviously giving everybody fair equity in a video call. So Brian is coming in now and we're going to hand it back over to him. Nice job.
Whew, it works. See, told you. I like to show how this stuff works. So what you'll notice, and now that I've been on, and I just saw that question, I was on the neat bar. So here's the neat bar that I was on, actually at the beginning of the call. And you'll notice Adam's behind me. And if you guys remember, right before I dropped and flipped over to board, I actually set a boundary where I want Adam to be excluded from the meeting. So what you're seeing right now is Brian Dunat live all by himself. Now, if I decide, hey, now Adam's maybe, was sitting in back and maybe we're having like a scrum meeting on the board because it's in an open space. And I decide, you know what, Adam might actually have some valuable contributions, or maybe I want to talk to Adam about creating a new movie and actually having something funny like Happy Gilmore 2 or Billy Madison. Now, when I bring him up into the meeting, you'll notice that he's framed in and symmetry kicks back in. Okay, so now this is the beauty of kind of what we've done. I haven't done anything on the device to exclude him outside of during the initial setup. I define the subject boundary that I want to use. So the cool thing about this too is based on how we group people, if I come and I stand next to Adam and Adam and I are standing next to each other, you'll notice there's some video crosstalk between the two of us. I may not want that. So what it does is it actually goes out to a group auto framing because we see that from our camera AI, it could be disruptive to the far end meeting participants if we're doing individual auto framing. And now all of a sudden I'm close enough to Adam. And this is how our camera AI works when we get into the larger spaces with, let's say, Neat Bar Pro, where maybe we extend beyond 8 people. Maybe we have 15 people. What our camera will do is it will actually start grouping people logically together based on where they're sitting. Okay.
So essentially you become best friends with the person sitting next to you.
Yeah. So, a great example of that, Chris, is like if I had Adam like this, right? And I was sitting right behind him, almost in line with the camera, as if we were sitting next to each other alongside one of the conference room tables, we would be cropped together. Now, if all of a sudden I came into the meeting and I sat down here at the head of the table and actually sat down, what would happen is it's going to individually crop me, right? So that's kind of how our camera is going to continually look, is that if it sees the full human object and we can crop you individually, we're going to do that. And the way we'll continue to do that is we go out 4 wide in portrait. As soon as we get to that 5th person, we basically cut that window in half and we go to 3 on the top, 2 on the bottom. We build that out until we're in a 4 across the top, 4 across the bottom type video. Okay. So that is how that will operate. And then again, as we get above 8 people, that's where then we start grouping people that are sitting close enough together so that we can do that. Now, the question that we always get though is, hey, you got Bar Pro, and like this is a single lens camera, right? It's 12 megapixel camera. It's great. Bar Pro actually has 3 cameras in it. It has a 50 megapixel wide angle lens. It has a 50 megapixel telephoto lens, and it has a depth finding or AI lens built into it. People have asked us quite a bit like, hey, it's pretty impressive camera technology. You guys going to go above 8? And the answer is no. And the reason for that is we don't want to start introducing a bunch of Beetlejuice heads inside of the window, right? Because think about it. If we're looking at gallery view, right now you guys are seeing me spotlighted. It's kind of disturbing because I'm staring at myself on a 65-inch display, but it's okay. I'm getting used to it. If we were in gallery view and I was not spotlighted, and all of a sudden we had 16 people sitting in there, that would be really hard to make out. So we're almost recreating the problem that we're trying to solve. And that's not what we want to do. So that's kind of where you're going to see kind of the lines that we draw. Now, where we might extend and show more people individually cropped is when I showed you guys Zoom Smart Gallery when I was on the other device, right? And it showed the group auto framing of the room, and then it showed me, and it showed Adam in our own windows. That may be where we extend beyond doing just 8 crops, and maybe we go to, let's say, 15 or 16. That might be what we did. Beetlejuice, yeah. See, I like that one. So that's pretty much what we have here. I'm just gonna change the view a little bit. So this is really, again, I just wanted to make sure that everybody really understood that. Now, some of the other features that we're bringing into our products. So I mentioned that we had the Microsoft Teams certification, right? And again, that's going to be on bar, right? So here's the device. So just, and you guys saw it. I mean, it's right behind here. There's no voodoo magic or Vanna White that's swapping devices on the fly. So that device is fully ready to go with Microsoft Teams. The Neat board that I'm on today, also ready for Microsoft Teams, as well as our panel. So I can. So here's our room scheduler. So just so that you guys can see this, here's my room scheduler. It's tied to my calendar. It has an accelerometer, so I can easily flip this around, right? It does have the LED lights on the side, which is great because, you know, if you mount these outside of the room, you're obviously going to be able to see that if you're walking the hallway to see what conference rooms or rooms might be available. And that's actually been a huge thing. And from a Zoom perspective, because that is a purpose-built Android-based appliance, we've had a lot of traction, and that is our #1 best-selling unit within Neat. And that is primarily because, if you remember the initial Zoom Room configs, a lot of people were deploying Android and iOS tablets, and then you're dealing with, you know, upgrades and enterprise certificates and battery swelling, and it's just a nightmare to manage. I mean, it's a consumer device that people are trying to leverage in an enterprise space. So that device has been huge. We're already getting a lot of traction with Microsoft because we can also run that device as a Microsoft Teams room scheduler.
All right. Well, we do have some questions. Are you ready to go rapid fire or what?
Bring it on, speed dating. Here we go. Matt
question.
knows this.
Yeah. First question I got that came in through the back door, trapdoor kind of secretive question. The scheduler, can it be used in portrait mode or strictly landscape mode?
It's landscape only right now. This is actually something that came up with one of my customers last week. So I'm going to hold it like this, and you will see that it will do the accelerometer where it will flip 180, but it does not go into portrait mode. This is something that we're investigating if that is something we can support. Part of that is just because of the mounting component, right? Like we've got to be able to get it where it mounts flush so that it's not angled like it would be, you know, just based on the mounting bracket that we have on the back. So that's something that we're taking a look at.
All right. Out from the chat, Jeremy has a question. I noticed in a recent quote I received from Neat, I just ordered a bar. It mentions Neat pad is required. So far as the Neat bar presentation, he hasn't used the pad once. It's a pretty loaded with features and clients. So is the Neat the Neat pad required for the Neat install?
Yes. So the Neat pad is required for Bar and Bar Pro because this is the device that actually configures Bar or Bar Pro. Okay. It also controls it. So from that perspective, when you do the out-of-the-box setup, what will happen is this is going to boot up. And on the pad, it's basically going to go through and it's going to say, what do you want to do? And you're going to say, I want to set up a Neat bar. So you select Neat bar, and then it's going to ask you, where do you want to mount this? and then it's going to walk you through the mounting guide. And then at the end, you're going to go through and you're going to do like, what's the local time zone? What's the local time? What network do you want to connect to? Is it wired or Wi-Fi, right? We can support Wi-Fi or wired on our devices. And then at the conclusion of that, then it pairs. So we actually pair in 2 levels. We pair within the firmware of the Neat Pad to the Neat Bar or Neat Bar Pro. And then we also pair at the Zoom level, or in Microsoft LAN, we pair in the Microsoft Teams level as well. So that is going to be something that's required. We do get the question all the time, several questions. So I'll try to tackle these, Chris. I'm going for bonus points, so hopefully you're okay with that. We actually don't recommend using iPads. Like, we're not going to support it, but we do have customers that want to add an iPad room controller because maybe they're sitting in the back of the room as a moderator. You can do that. Again, that's functionality from Zoom specifically, does not work with Microsoft. So just keep that clear. The other thing is that we get questions on is, can you guys support Zoom Room controls? Because Zoom Room controls are actually a feature of Zoom, they are supported on this, and we do have a couple of customers who have actually used that, put that in, written their own custom JSON scripting to then control like Lutron and Extron lighting in a room or shades, things like that. That is exposed and that is supported on Zoom, not available on Microsoft Teams.
Okay. All right. So there is a flurry of questions. All of them are coming from Jared, who was the first one to hit the Q&A button, the Q&A button. So the first one, in stock, is his favorite 2 words of 2021 and again in 2022. Is there any manufacturing forecast shortages on the horizon over the next couple of quarters?
No, nothing that we can see right now. So we plenty in stock. Starin has plenty in stock. We actually have a couple of backup warehouses here in the U.S. that are also fully stocked. So as of this time, we're ready to go. Sell as much as you can. So every device that Brian talked about is in stock today.
The next question from Jared, is there a limit to the individual framing? 4 people, 6 people, 8 people?
So like I said, we will go up to 8 people. We'll basically fill 8 zones. So think of this box, right? And we crop this and split it into 8 individual zones. We will fill that with those people. As soon as we get the 9th or 10th person, that's where then we start grouping people together based on where they're sitting.
Yeah. And just to clarify, Jared got the answer from you, but he was quick to ask the question before you eventually got to it. So he knows that 8 was there. Just want to point that out. Don't want to be, I'm here for them, for you guys. Sorry, I'm on their side.
Give me 1 second, Chris. I'm actually going to flip over to Frame just because I want to show you guys all the different devices and kind of what it looks like. So Mark, if you can just watch, you're going to see Brian Dunat Frame come in. If you could promote me as a panelist, I just want to flip over to that device.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
So that's the answer for Jared. While Brian's doing some TV magic, we'll go to the next question. Robert asks, I was late to the presentation. Have we talked about external audio capabilities tying into overhead mic speakers or to DSPs? And I think that may be a question for Brian. We didn't address that.
I think so. Yeah, we can address that pretty quick with the Neat Bar Pro. Brian, I guess first question is Neat Bar Pro, can it work with external microphones?
So the design philosophy at Neat is such that we always over-engineer our hardware and continue to enhance it with software updates over time. So very much like even what Tesla does, right? Like I've heard that analogy. People will say, bought my Tesla, and actually the worst it performed was on the day I bought it, because after that I just kept getting software upgrades. On Neat Bar Pro, we actually built in a auxiliary network jack. And the intent for that is we will support AES-67 and ingest of third-party microphones that support that protocol. So think like Dante, for example. My former life sold a lot of the Shure MXA 910 ceiling mics, right? They were great. 16 beamforming mics. Well, we have that same number of beamforming mics in Bar Pro. We're not yet there, ready to support AES-67 on Bar Pro, but know that that is something that's on our roadmap to support.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Robert. Next question comes in for Tim. From Tim. What are you doing content input for Teams running native on the bar?
So if you are running Teams natively on the bar, we do HDMI ingest. Now, currently with Microsoft, we're able to ingest content, but not audio. That is a limitation with Microsoft Teams Room on Android. So if you are just trying to show a PowerPoint, no problem, we got you covered. You can do HDMI ingest. Or if you do have content or you want to watch a video, then our recommendation would be join from the Teams client and then share through the Teams client into the meeting.
Awesome. Chris asks, any info, possible future utilization of NeatPad as microphones?
So that is another thing that's on the roadmap. So actually on the bottom of all of the Neat pads, there's actually 2 microphones that are built in. This is something we showed literally at the launch like 2 years ago. And it is something that we have been working towards actually releasing. We're just not at that point. I can tell you that that kind of goes in line with the AES 67 on Bar Pro, because we're likely going to use the same protocols and the same feature set to enable mics and pads as we will AES 67 support for third-party mics on Bar Pro. So
Awesome.
it's not dead, it's coming.
It's there. It's on its way.
Yeah.
Another question from Chris. Can Brian speak to the environmental sensors/info found in the Neat devices?
Yep, absolutely. So every one of the Neat devices that we have actually has, we can do people count. So this is huge. We also can do, we do temperature, humidity, VOC, and CO2 level detection on all of our devices. Okay. That information is then uploaded into the Zoom admin portal. So that is how that works. Now today, that will work with Bar, Board, with Zoom, Bar Pro, and Frame. We changed some of the sensors that are in there, and we are working right now with Zoom to be able to support that. You can see it real time. You just can't see it in the Zoom admin portal because we don't have that that pull from the Neat devices into Zoom admin portal yet for Frame and Bar Pro. For Microsoft Teams, we actually have gotten a little bit of pushback on support for that, which is kind of surprising. One of the big value props that I see with the Neat sensors is that we're giving people, not just IT, but operations and facilities, full visibility into a room without going and buying like occupancy sensors or Bluetooth beaconing sensors or environmental sensors. That's a whole nother solution, a whole nother environment. That's all built into the Neat device, right? And there's no additional charge for that. That's just something we felt we needed to bring. Microsoft yet has not really given us a roadmap of how they might potentially bring that in. We've actually explored, like, do we maybe want to try to build something ourselves? But right now that's not available on Teams. Keep in mind, Bar and Board, it's available with Zoom, coming soon to Frame and Bar Pro.
All right. Well, as a follow-up, Aaron Peterson, you said you did say CO2. Does that mean carbon monoxide detection or carbon dioxide detection?
Carbon dioxide.
I've been removed from high school science for a very long time, so I don't know.
Yep, carbon dioxide.
Okay.
And let me just see. So I can just show you. So right now, this is the Zoom Room scheduler tied to my Frame. So as I mentioned, it's not fully reporting a couple of the metrics. But if you see here, we have temperature and humidity, which is right here, temperature, humidity. And then if I go back to the home screen, which is weird, I don't know, there we go. Now you can actually see it says busy and 1 person in the room. So it's only seeing me because I have Adam at the other side of the room. So this is just an idea and just to kind of show you real time, like how our sensors are working with the Zoom platform.
Awesome. So we do have a question that came in again through the trapdoor in the room. Does the pad support third-party scheduling platforms? Does it support Teams Scheduler?
It supports Teams Scheduler, and that is what we just got certified on in March. So you can fully deploy that. As far as third-party applications, I would say that is something that we're exploring in general as a company. We get a lot of requests, and it's not just for panel to run, things like AppSpace or the team application.
but we get the same request for board, right? Because once we boot into Zoom mode, we're locked in Zoom. Once we boot into Teams, we're locked in Teams. People have asked, hey, could we run like Miro? Now, we're not going to deviate and put like onboard compute or OBS module into the back of board. What we're going to look to see is if we could support loading up additional apps, or maybe having that ability to add additional apps and leverage those for that. But today we're really we're tied to the meeting platforms of Zoom or Microsoft Teams.
Okay. Alvin asks, is there an option to create custom icons on the Neat Pad? I have a client that wants an easy button, literally, to create an instant connection to a remote office between two Neat boards. If you can imagine the big red smashing easy button.
So that is actually going to be more of a question for Zoom, and I hate to do that, but I honestly don't know if we can create a custom button on the Zoom Room controller. I'm thinking, if I'm thinking correctly, I don't think we can create a custom button on the Zoom Room control yet.
And you may be right, because Zoom's whole main thing is that they want uniformity across everything so that their Zoom Room control is familiar. So if you're creating a button, I get the familiarity of an easy button, one stop, one button press conversation. But I think Zoom is not allowing that to happen as well. So buried in the chat is another question that Jeremy
Actually, hey, Chris, before
Sure.
we go on to that, one thing that I just want to mention is I'm thinking about that. In the past, when you think of legacy video conferencing, and we had standards-based endpoints, right? Most common thing for a lot of people, and I think that's kind of what they were looking at, is we used to create favorites, right? I could create a favorite and I could just walk into a room, click the favorite, click the button, and then boom, it dialed the other endpoint. With Zoom, because we do contact integration, right? So network cord's not long enough. If you were to create a contact within your Zoom hierarchy for that room, that's what would actually be displayed here. So I think the answer to that, working within kind of the restrictions of what Zoom has, again, following along, I would likely create that Zoom room as a contact, make that dialable, and then just tell people when you go in, search for, I'm going to call Chris, I'm going to call Matt, and then have
Bob's Monday meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I get it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. We've got this. So
Exactly.
inside, what I was saying before is Jeremy snuck in some questions into the chat, which was a no-no. I wanted in the Q&A. That's okay, Jeremy. We're gonna play nice. So Jeremy goes back to the Neat Pad.
Sure.
So you need the Neat Pad to set up the Neat board without using a bar.
You need the Neat bar. You need the Neat Pad for Neat Bar or Neat Bar Pro. Now, because board is a 65-inch all-in-one touchscreen and frame is a 15-inch all-in-one touchscreen, we don't need pad because we can touch enable you to go through the out-of-the-box setup wizard using either one of those devices. What we commonly see, though, is frame is truly a standalone product, but on board, a lot of customers will say, I want whiteboarding in my conference room, right? And then they buy these really fancy whiteboards and they don't ever use them because they don't like the whiteboard experience or they're not sure how to use it. So what they end up doing is repurposing it as a all-in-one video conferencing solution. In that instance, with Zoom coming to Microsoft Teams soon, you can pair pad to board and put the controls, take the controls off the board and put it at the tabletop. And that's quite honestly a lot of the, I would say quite a few deployments that we see with customers, especially for Zoom. That's the direction they go, is they want to put a pad on the tabletop so that they can use it as a regular video conferencing. And then in the event that like, hey, I actually want to use this as a whiteboard, I just walk up, click whiteboard. It's going to fire up my whiteboard app. And this also has multi-point touch.
Yep.
Okay.
Jeremy, don't worry about being late. That was just me trying to pretend that I'm tough with this. I'm too lenient with the Neat guys, so I gotta be tough on somebody. Will you guys be at InfoComm? Why, yes, Starin will be at InfoComm if that's what you were asking, but I'm assuming you're asking if Neat was going to be there. Guys, what is your InfoComm status?
Absolutely, we're going to be there as well. So we're going to be at both ISE and InfoComm. More details to come pretty quickly. And then we will have some presence in the Starin booth as well. All the equipment will be in our booth, but we definitely be supporting Starin as well. So we'll have everything that Brian showed today.
I want cutouts in our booth. So every time we do
Adam Sandler.
every time we do a Neat and you guys pull out a different cardboard cutout, I am interested to see what cardboard cutout is going to end up in the booths.
We actually need a good picture of you, Chris, and then we'll just
No. First of all, it'll be 3 foot tall and it'll look like a garden gnome. That's not cool, man.
We do have Danny DeVito in the Chicago Demo Center, so
I know, and then yeah, it's you guys have a very big height difference on the other video that you guys do, where Danny DeVito is the cutout because he is like 3'2", but he is a local legend in Asbury Park, New Jersey. So we don't mess with Danny DeVito around here. But anyway, if we don't have any more questions, let's proceed to the next step or next phase of this town hall, where we bring up a slide and continue on with the presentation. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I just wanted to use this slide. I think this is actually really powerful just to kind of speak to everything that I kind of talked through and demoed. And again, I like to demo this stuff so that everybody can see it. So symmetry, again, keep in mind that is kind of Neat's invention, and that is really where we are doing the individual auto framing. It's wholly based on human object detection. It's not facial tracking. It's not voice recognition. We get that question all the time. What happens if Adam actually talked? Nothing, because we've already framed him. Neat boundary, I showed you guys on board, where we can define that virtual width and virtual depth of our conference rooms to really solve for those meeting spaces where we have glass walls, artwork, or maybe we deploy a device in an open space. Auto framing we talked about, and then Neat audio processing. So one thing that's pretty unique, we are continuing to enhance really all of our audio in what we do. One of those things is, if you guys are listening, do you hear all the wind noise that's outside right now? You hear my fidget spinner going?
Barely.
Okay. So right now, like literally, I almost think there's a tornado probably ready to come down my street, because I had a call with Matt right before this, and it's pretty bad. We have like 70-mile-an-hour winds, and my windows are like... What we've done and what we're doing is we've done a phenomenal job, in my opinion, with video. Now what we want to do is clean up the audio that we're bringing in from all of our rooms. And with the Neat audio processing, we're not copying existing audio algorithms that are out there for a lot of products. We're actually building our own. And with Neat Frame, this is the first one. So we're doing deep noise suppression and stationary noise suppression. What that's doing is we're listening for those non-human voice conversations in that background noise. So deep noise suppression is going to be those things that aren't consistent. Like when I fire up my fidget spinner because I'm bored, or get nervous during speed dating sessions like the last one that we just went through. We're actually pulling that audio, we're pulling that down and cleaning up that audio stream when we send it off to Zoom. Same thing with the windows that we're vibrating here, we're doing that. We also have stationary noise suppression, and this deep noise suppression is only on Frame today. We're going to be bringing that to our other devices. Stationary noise suppression is where we're listening and we hear that consistent noise in the background. So it could be a fan, it could be an HVAC unit, it could be a meeting room that's placed right outside of a generator. We've all been in those rooms where it's just like you hear this constant in the background. We're recognizing that and again, pulling that out. And that's now available across all the Neat devices. Again, deep noise suppression will be bringing, and we continue to enhance that audio algorithm so that we can make it a very good experience. And then Neat Sense we talked about, right? That is our environmental sensors that's built into all of our Neat devices. Available today with Zoom, hopefully on the roadmap coming to Microsoft Teams.
Awesome.
So Matt, I'll kick it to you, because I think what we wanted to talk about next was just kind of some of the upcoming events. I know we had that question, but I'll kick it to Matt.
Just real quick, again, next event is going to be in Barcelona at ISE. So we just kind of showed you some of the the graphics here of what the booth is going to be looking like. And then if you went to Enterprise Connect, that's really what we're going to be showcasing at InfoComm. So you'll be used to one side of the booth really focused heavily around Microsoft, and then the other side is going to be heavily focused on Zoom, but it will have every product that you saw here today. So pretty excited about that. We have some other regional events coming up that we'll be posting on our website and sending out to the team. And then other things that we just want to invest in with our channel partner community. We're going to be launching in a couple of weeks our new partner portal. It's going to be based on lead generation, content creation. There'll be referral codes, so that way we can track it back to you, as well as the deal registration flow. Again, the way we're set up, we really, really want to promote deal registration. It flows right through Starin. So we got a really easy process for you on that side. But just know that we have plenty of investments coming out to continue to increase the momentum that we built together. So we're pretty excited about the rest of the year.
Sounds good. Well, I will not be at ISC, but I'm sure there may be some folks who their teams may be heading over to Barcelona in a few weeks. So good luck there. The booth looks great from the slides that we're seeing here. We do have 2 questions that kind of slid in, but these are not really neat-based questions. Somebody asked who Danny DeVito is, and my answer to that is he's a twin of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Please Google that and you will see what I'm talking about. And Jeremy wants that slide. I'm not sure what slide he's referring to, but I'm sure we can get a copy of some slide to you, Jeremy. And we can probably have maybe Matt can autograph the slide. I don't know. We'll see what we can do.
Matt, he didn't even have to say anything.
I know, Brian, amazing demo. Yeah. Actually, Adam Sandler.
The strong silent type. That's what we're going.
That's right. That's right.
I see. All right.
But Brian, you get points for your pop culture add-ons in the presentation. So I've never been with a manufacturer on these town halls that have dropped so many pop culture references in a 30-minute span. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you, man.
All right, what's up next, producer Mark? We've got these slides going, and now we have a $50 Amazon gift card giveaway. And the winner of that, as Mr. Mark is spinning off air and is going to be sending the winner to me, is Jared, SHORTGEN, Shortgen. I hope I said that right. If not, do not hold it against me. I am sending you a $50 gift card as compensation for me butchering your last name, sir. Thank you so much for coming to the town hall. And thank you, Neat, for sponsoring. Just a quick reminder, at InfoComm, we go to the show. We love to obviously show off our technology and bring our people, and you get to see and speak to some of us in person. But one thing that we have been doing since 2019's InfoComm is that we like to leave the show space or the event area in a better place than what we found it. So what we're doing at InfoComm is similar to what we did in 2019. We are working with a local charity. Starin Cares is our program. The charity is with Silver Service Dogs. We will be trying to raise funds. If you guys want to go ahead and participate in it, there is the web address, and if you put your phone up, you can get to the QR code where we are going to be raising funds for a military veteran or first responder to purchase and for them to get a service animal to assist them on their daily lives. It's something that's near and dear to both both Starin and many of our partners. So if you guys would love to support it, just a reminder, the slide is up currently, and we're looking to raise some funds to make it possible to help these folks that have put in a lot of time and effort, obviously for the better of the community. So thank you so much. Next up, our town hall that we have coming up in April is going to be with Kramer. Kramer recently has done a rebrand, so you're going to get to meet the new Kramer and everything new about Kramer and what's coming up with them. That will be on April 28th. I will see you there. And what does Starin have coming up prior to? Yes, we will be at Cavlo, which is a traveling road show for the AV industry. We will be there in Nashville. I think it's May 10th precisely. That is there. I will be there. So come by, say hi if you're in the Memphis area or that area, general vicinity of the Tennessee area. I'm geographically stupid, so I apologize if I told you to come and you're on the other side of the state, and apparently that's a very long state. So maybe I should have Google mapped it before I came here and said, come visit me. But come by, come see. There's going to be a lot of great vendors. Vendor partners of ours are going to be there as well, along with us and a bunch of other folks. And I'm actually moderating an EdTech panel that day on in association with HETMA, if you guys are familiar with that, Higher Ed Technology Managers Association. Thank you again, the guys from NEAT. I appreciate you guys coming by and giving our partners here a tour of what's new, what's fresh and exciting at NEAT. Where can we find out more information about you guys?
Honestly, I would say check our website. We're continuing to enhance that. Neat.no. Take a look at that. We've launched several new things on there. So we have a page dedicated just to Microsoft. We've updated all of our FAQs to include all the common FAQs we're getting from TAP with Microsoft, as well as just some of our early adopters. Updated user guides. We also have a spaces section where you can actually see kind of virtual renderings of in-room and far-in participants using different devices and different meeting spaces. So check that out for sure. And then Matt?
Yeah, and the new site will be coming up in a couple weeks for the partners, just like I mentioned with the partner portal and the lead generation. So stay tuned for that. But you can always reach out to your Starin rep as well. They know how to get a hold of us, and we can get any information that you might need. One good thing about the partner portal coming is it'll be very easy for our partners to co-brand one-pagers. We'll have it all loaded up on the site. You can just drop your logos in, send it out right from the site for any lead generation that you want to do. So stay tuned for that.
Sounds great. Once again, thank you everybody for joining us at the town hall. My name is Chris Nettle. I'm the market development manager here at Starin. Get a hold of your Starin reps. They are able to tell you all the good things that NEAT has in stock currently at Starin that can go right out the door today if you ask nicely. No, you don't have to ask nicely. You can even demand for it to go out the door today, and we can do our best to get it out there for you. But yes, get a hold of your customer rep. If not, get a hold of me, and I will somehow send smoke signals, pigeons, and all the cool old school style ways of communicating with folks to get them back up and getting your order out the door. So once again, thank you so much for spending some time with us. This has been the Starin Town Hall.